Dear viewers, warm welcome to the third round of today's National Television English Parliamentary Debate Competition. Ladies and gentlemen, the format of the parliamentary debate competition differs from the traditional style. In this system, there is a government party and an opposition party. The motion is placed in the House by the Prime Minister, who is also the leader of the House. The role of the opposition is always to place constructive arguments against the bill. Today's motion before the House is Bangladesh should search alternative sources in lieu of garments industry for our continuous industrialization. Cambrian College, Dhaka is representing the government side and Rajuk Uttara Model College, Dhaka is representing the opposition bench. The government side is being represented by Ishrat Jahan Ima of Cambrian College, Dhaka, who is the Prime Minister and leader of the House. Fatima Akhtar Lucky is the member of the cabinet and is in charge of Ministry of Industry. And Ruhani Khandokar Sweety is the member of the Treasury bench. The opposition bench is being represented by Kaniz Ahmed, Rajuk Uttara Model College, Dhaka, who is the leader of the opposition. Rashad Riaz is the deputy leader of the opposition, and Musa Abdullah Walid is the member of the opposition party. The honorable adjudicators of these sessions are Muhammad Mujibur Rahman, Deputy Registrar Admin, Bangladesh Madrasa Education Board, Dhaka. Muhammad Makfur Hossain, Assistant Professor, Political Science, Dinajpur Government College and eminent debater, University of Dhaka. Dr. Irene Akhtar, Associate Professor, IBA, Jahangirnagar University. Jamal Mustafa Shindaini, Assistant Professor of Sociology and Moderator of NUB Debating Society, Northern University, Bangladesh. The Honorable Speaker of the House is Professor Dr. A.N.M. Mishkat Uddin, Acting Vice Chancellor, Presidency University. Before the House starts its proceedings, let me inform you about the order and time allocation of each debater. Prime Minister, 4 minutes. Leader of the Opposition, 5 minutes. Member of the Cabinet, 5 minutes. Deputy Leader of the Opposition, 5 minutes. Treasury Bench Member, 5 minutes. Opposition Member, 5 minutes. The opposition leader will get another 3 minutes for rebuttal, and the Prime Minister will get the last 4 minutes to wind up his party's stand. All the members of the competing teams, the adjudicators, the invited guests, and the other members of the audience will comprise the members of the House. I now most humbly request the Honorable Speaker to start today's proceedings. The Honorable Speaker, please.
Dear audience and the viewers, let me welcome you to the 12th National Television English Parliamentary Debate Competition. Our motion before the House today is Bangladesh should search alternative sources in lieu of garments industry for our continuous industrialization. The government party, represented by the Cambrian College, Dhaka, will be speaking in favor of today's motion, and the opposition bench, represented by Rajuk Uttara Model College, will be speaking against today's motion. At the beginning, I would like to request the Honorable Prime Minister to speak for today's motion. You will have 4 minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the high time we search for an alternative source of garments industry for our continuous industrialization. This is the high time we remove the burden from the head of garments industry. This is the high time we search for different industries which could contribute as well as garments industry in our economy as well as in our industrialization. So I am raising this motion in this parliament. The motion is Bangladesh should search alternative sources in lieu of garments industry for our continuous industrialization. Now, the question is, what do we understand by Bangladesh? By Bangladesh, we understand the state Bangladesh, and alternative source. By alternative source, we understand that a grand plan of searching alternative by not totally denying the garment sector, but which could also work equally as well as garment sector in our economy and made us a developed or a middle income country. Now, what do we understand by in lieu of? We are not rejecting the garment sector. We are saying that we are just searching for alternative which could contribute in our economy, which could do our continuous industrialization, as well as now garments industry is doing very well in our economy. Now, in garment, what do we understand by garments industry? The industry in which the clothing or the textile things are produced and the fashionable clothing are produced, and each industry have its own trade publications. By industrialization, we understand that the process in which a society or a country transforms itself from a primary agricultural society into one based on manufacturing of goods and services is known as industrialization. Now, this cannot be happen in just one day. We have a grand plan for 30 years. In 30 years, we will search for many alternative sources which could work as garment sectors. What are the sources? The sources are pharmacy, ICT, shipbuilding, and food industry. Now, the question is, why are we not picking just one industry instead of as the alternative of garment sector? The answer is, if we have more industries, our development will be more, our economy will become more strong, and we can be a developed or a middle income country from this lower middle income country. Now, why it is necessary now? Because now Bangladesh is a lower middle income country, and now Bangladesh, the GDP growth of Bangladesh is stuck at 6%. If we want to raise the GDP percentage, the growth of GDP, then we will have to search for alternative sources which could also contribute in our economy. That's why, what do we have to do? We have to invest in these four sectors: pharmacy, ICT, shipbuilding, and food industry. Now, the question is, why do we have to do this? And another question is, why should the investor invest in these sectors in our country? The answer is, now Bangladesh has great potentiality in these four sectors, and this could be our next this could be as well do good in our economy as well as garment sectors. Now, the second option is, and the main thing is, we have cheap labor than any other countries. That's our advantage, and that is profitable for the investors to invest in our country. Now, I will explain about pharmacy and ICT sectors. Why do we have to choose ICT as the alternative of garment sector? Because it is the second potential sector in our country which could work as the alternative of garment sector, and the percentage of the contribution of GDP in our country of pharmacy sector is 1%, which is not good enough, but it has great potentiality in it. If we work hard, then we could do good. And Mr. Speaker, ICT has its great potentiality in it, and we are building Silicon Valley in Rajshahi. Digital Bangladesh, we will have to work in case of ICT. That's why this motion, we should support this motion in this parliament, that Bangladesh should search alternative sources in lieu of garments industries for our continuous industrialization. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Let me now request the leader of the opposition to speak against today's motion. The leader of the opposition.
Honorable Speaker, thank you for giving me the floor. Our today's motion is, this House believes that Bangladesh should search for alternative sectors in lieu of garments industry for continuous industrialization. We, team opposition, are not against searching new sectors for development, nor are we against continuous industrialization. What we stand against is searching for alternative sources in lieu of, I repeat, Honorable Speaker, in lieu of garments industry. Honorable Speaker, the term in lieu of itself implies that any new projects that will be undertaken will be mutually exclusive to the existing garments industry. That is, this sector will be neglected to focus on other sectors. On the other hand, what we propose is to develop all sectors simultaneously so that we can progress in all sectors instead of considering them as alternatives of one. Honorable Speaker, today we are opposing this motion for the following constructives. Our first constructive is, it is not necessary to consider alternatives because A, the current status quo is quite satisfactory. B, simultaneous development is possible. C, there's more room for improvement and expansion in the RMG sector. And D, RMG sector will not hamper continuous industrialization, rather enhance it. Honorable Speaker, our second constructive is that the consequences of passing this motion will affect our stakeholders on A, individual levels, B, as a business community, and C, Bangladesh as a whole. That the feasibility of passing this motion is very low because A, abandoning RMG sector will disrupt new industries. B, rehabilitating and re-employing the unemployed workers from this sector will be very difficult. C, RMG sector gives more returns on investment than any other sector. And D, passing this motion will be detrimental to the economic development of our country on the whole. Honorable Speaker, let me first present the current status quo of our country to you. At present, Bangladesh earns 29.66% from the industrial sector. It contributes 29.66% to our national income, Honorable Speaker. We have 78 jute mills in our country, out from where 85% of the products exported abroad. We have 63 textile mills, we have 17 sugar mills, we have 3 paper mills, we have 8 fertilizer mills. And as they have mentioned the pharmacy sector, we have many foreign brands have invested in our country like GlaxoSmithKline, and we have Square Pharmaceuticals, and we're developing all these sectors simultaneously. So, Honorable Speaker, we believe that we don't have to seek alternatives. Rather, we can let the current status quo remain as it is and develop simultaneously so that all the sectors can progress hand in hand. Honorable Speaker, coming to my first constructive. As I have shown before, the simultaneous development is taking place in our country and it is possible to further enhance it. Honorable Speaker, there is more room for improvement and expansion in the RMG sector because, Honorable Speaker, in 2006, Bangladesh was the 6th largest ready-made garments manufacturer in the world. And currently, in 2016, we are the 2nd largest RMG manufacturers in the world. And, Honorable Speaker, if we continue this progress, within the time frame they have given, within the next 30 years, we can not only be the leaders, not only be the topmost country in producing RMG, produce world-class clothing that can actually be considered as brands. So, Honorable Speaker, we are proud to oppose.
Okay, thanks. Okay, dear viewers, the motion today, as you know, the Bangladesh should search for alternative sources in lieu of garments industry for our country's industrialization. I request the honorable members to maintain the time strictly. Let me request the Honorable Industry Minister to speak for the motion.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the chance. Yes, thank you for agreeing with us, and thank you for your concern. But we already say, and look at the motion itself, it already says that we are not totally denying the idea of garments industry, rather than we are helping garment industry side by side to develop other industries, because this is the right time and high time when think about other alternations. For you asked that pharmacy and all, and you have given that we are just rejecting labor and all, because did you notice that child labor is increasing day by day because the dependency of the garments industry? So I think you get your answers. Bangladesh should search alternative source in lieu of garments industry for our country's industrialization. Honorable Speaker, if we see the present situation and back years of past those years, we can see that there were many problems like food crisis, medicine problem, health problem, technological problem, and the big problem of social and political unrest. But now we can see these conditions are stable. So this is the high time. We also think about alternations side by side garment industry, because garment industry having a much pressure. So we are just removing a little bit of pressure from our garments industry, not just totally denying it. So let's think about sheep industry and food industry. Why food? If we think about 21st century and its situation, people are more concerned about two things, which is health and food. If we if we think totally with the food idea, why we are proposing food ideas, and we already said about one not alternation, like we have shown you and explained you many ideas such as food industry, sheep industry and pharmacy sectors and ICT, etc. So we are not telling that you should look up and you should just hook up with this just 4 sources, but rather than you can come up with other ideas and other sources also. Yes, sir.
Ma'am, you have been talking about the increase of child labor because of the more importance given to garment sector, where you wanted to emphasize on pharmacy, ICT, and shipbuilding. Can you explain to us how this would contribute in decreasing the labor of child and how they can engage in this particular industries?
In garment industry, we can see the risks and we also see the benefits, like for us security and other problems. But why child labor is increasing is that for the money. Because our country is an overpopulated country, and if we, why we are coming up with the pharmacy and ICT technologies and ship industries, there are no, I don't think their child labor is needed, because sending parents send garments industry children to, why? Because they're getting money and they have like, there are lots of garment industries like nearer. So pharmacy, why we are telling pharmacy is the best? Because states contribution in GDP is 1% in pharmacy, which is similar to USA. Okay, we were shipbuilding. Why? Shipbuilding has a blooming potentiality, and it can be such a good idea if we focus on shipbuildings. And there are lots of foreign investors who are investing garments industry. If they see other alternations are coming up, they can also invest on those sectors. And at a time, Bangladesh will realize an economy will grow up. And why we are just, you are telling that garment industry is already, yes, it is already developed. So why we should focus on only garment industry? Why not other alternations? We should also look up and see the other alternations and can develop them also. So if we, and we are not telling you that we are just closing garment industry and like within a one day or within some short time developing other sources like ship industries, food industries. We are just telling, we have also shown you a